button, you're live.
All right. Excelente.
If anybody jumps on
And welcome back. Our crowd is getting smaller but better. That's not true at all. Final session of the day for our AV conference. Again, appreciate everyone that has joined us and has been joining us live, and everyone in studio.
there. And for those of you watching it in the future.
And in the future, you'll be able to find these on our YouTube channel always, at least until
Gets shut down.
it gets shut down for whatever reason. So our final session is going to be sort of a wrap up, and we'll talk a little bit more about some things that we'd mentioned earlier about funding, budgets, grants, sponsors, fundraisers, and then just a general, you thought of something during the course of a session, you forgot it, and now you want to ask it now. And so that will be perfectly acceptable. And I'm going to guess this one's probably not going to take too long, and we'll be wrapped up probably in about 30 minutes or so. We've already taken the tour. There's just a few of you left, and if y'all want to go check out the trailer again, we can go check out the trailer. And maybe Richie, you can you turn anything on in there so they can see some of the screen?
Yeah, we probably can. And then for those online, we will have a future episode that's a trailer tour once we get it complete. It's about 98% right now. So.
It's getting so close. And we were kind of talking about this.
A labor of love, I guess.
A definite labor of love. I mean, it started out as essentially a bread carton.
Car hauler, yeah, toy hauler.
We did, and I say we, not we, he did a bunch of work, and then I stepped in a couple of times to do just about this amount of work. So everything that's in there has essentially been this guy right here. He's our MacGyver, our Swiss Army knife, who just comes up with everything on that technical aspect. But let's kind of jump into it, because we've had these responses and these questions kind of throughout the day, no matter what session that we were talking about. From the middle school, out of state. In fact, everyone is either out of state or at the middle school. That's kind of cool. And you know, I didn't ask you about Louisiana. You guys are probably very similar to Texas in how you run sports and things of that nature. And I forgot that. Why don't you come up here and let's have a chin wag, as the kids say in 1950. Hey, you can come this way. There we go.
I'm in the middle of trying to get a video downloaded for the students. So,
Oh, that's okay.
so if I'm tapping it, I'm trying to keep it.
That's all right. So if she's not paying attention, we're going to get her.
I'm on my phone. I'm trying to download the video to get it posted for the kids today because I wasn't there.
All right, so I guess let's start off with, who are you and where you're from?
Okay, I'm Pam Dixon. I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana. I teach about 10 miles outside of Lake Charles at Sulphur High School.
Sulphur. I almost got a ticket in Sulphur once. I happened to be on the interstate, maybe going too fast. I don't know. Maybe I was going too fast.
Speed could be a factor.
When I went through Louisiana the first time, I didn't realize, and this just shows my naivety, my only interaction with Louisiana, I grew up in northeast Texas, and so we would go to Shreveport a lot. And North Louisiana is not the same as South Louisiana, and it just is not. And I didn't realize how, and Louisiana is beautiful, but I didn't realize how beautiful South Louisiana was. And that area right there really pretty. So
It's flat.
it is flat, but there was a lot of pretty stuff to look at, and it was modern. And I don't know why I'm saying that with some kind of accent or whatever, but I enjoyed my time there. So Sulphur, what are you doing there?
I am teaching, they're still calling it television production, which is an outdated name, but I think they're going to move on to the word video probably by next year, but we've been trying to push that. But my students do everything from, learning to shoot from scratch. Majority of my kids are first-year kids, and they're usually in our program for only about 2 years, so I wish I did have them longer. But we teach them in 2 class periods, and so a lot of kids can't fit in an elective class in a 2-hour period. So I think that that cuts out a lot of kids that could have. But anyway, we'll do shows about once or twice a month. We're not on a regular schedule. We live stream football. We'll live stream our homecoming games. Sometimes some other events. But we are interested in getting a mobile unit or a trailer right now, and that's what brings me here because our career and tech director, he's ready. So he wants to get some of that equipment, so I'm tasked with trying to figure that out.
All right, I've got to pause real quick. I got to respond to
Okay.
one of these comments on here. Earlier I asked if our game night productions Baraboo, and he's clarified how to say that. Yes, he's a cheesehead, and now he's saying that they're going to beat my Cowboys. So sorry, that's kind of a side question. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to. My OCD brain right there,
No
ADHD.
problem.
So now you've got block scheduling only for
No,
for those kids.
I have our kids 5 days a week.
I guess block is
but-
not the right word.
No, because I'd be every other day, I think.
Dual class periods.
Two class periods.
Okay.
And plus I get students from other high schools. We have about 10 high schools in Calcasieu Parish. I used to be the only teacher who taught video production about 15 years ago at one school, and like any kids who wanted to take our career classes would get bused to our schools 5 days a week, and then they go back to the rest of their schools. Now we have 2 of us. So I teach the schools on the west side of the I-10 bridge, and my partner teaches on the other side. So it's a little bit unusual, I think. But so I do have kids from other schools that are kind of blending in.
That's one of the things that I've lived in other states, and I didn't grow up that way. We're always the ISD system here in Texas, and so I didn't understand the county school district system and how you have a gajillion people. And so does that make it hard for you when you don't get to see your kids? I know you see them in class, but you don't see them in the hallway or any other time of the day.
About 95% are actually from my school.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
But we still have to. We can't really have a complete Sulphur High School show. So those challenges come in a little bit because we still have to kind of make it universal. And when it's so easy just to cover everything that's going on at the school right there,
Right.
I only have a handful who are from the other schools. I don't know why they're not coming, or the counselors don't push them, in that direction. But,
So you do a mixture of what we've been talking about, sporting events, and then some other sorts of events.
We'll do shows. They might do just music videos. I do try to focus a lot on broadcast journalism because that is my background before I started teaching. So I'm really into that. We'll live stream graduation. So it's a mix. And I'm in the middle of trying to get them certified right now for the Adobe certification, which is like huge because a lot of my students are not on the college pathway, the college jump start, and so they have to get a certification to graduate.
So now let's kind of switch gears here. We're going to specifically talk about grants, budgets, sponsors, fundraising, and all that business. And those all seem like dirty words to all of us in the know. In Louisiana, what do you do with these things? Your budget, do you get a good one? Do you have to come up with your own money?
I get a modest supplies budget for SD cards, but usually when we need something, it usually gets approved. We have our career and tech department is very strong, very supportive. They usually will sign a check for most anything we ask for, and at the end of the year, when they need to spend that use it or lose it money, it's like they want to get us some equipment. But right now, the director he's ready to spend on a trailer, so and some equipment. So
You better get that
yeah.
locked into
So,
into writing there.
But we do have some. We do have like some grant money there. I don't have to work hard to get money, which I'm grateful for. Because when I came into the business, I thought I was okay. Well, I'm going to get money for stuff. But we're pretty well supported to where I'm satisfied. And we have good equipment. But I'm telling you, like I hear some of the budgets in Texas, and they're in the tens of thousands of dollars that somebody has a year to spend, and I've got like $1,500 that I can like freely spend. So it's like, wow.
Well,
But I think we're taking care of it.
Some of those budgets may be somewhere. They're not here. Although our admin does do a great job of supporting us when we need stuff. Now, you made a comment about SD cards, and I guess we can kind of circle to the equipment portion. And Jordan, maybe you can kind of shout in on this one too.
Or take my place.
Because I didn't think to ask you this. One of the prereqs for being in my photography course and in the AV is they have to purchase their own SD cards. And I make them show up that way. Whatever content they create, they keep it, they own it, and they do what they're going to do with it. Same thing?
No, we since we have some money coming to us through Career and Tech Department, I don't know if any really of our career classes charge lab fees for that, because it's pretty much covered, and they lose them all the time. We just get some new ones, but so they pretty much can start our class for free.
Okay.
So and we do have a lot of kids. I think at least half our students are on the free lunch and reduced lunch program in our district too. So
Yeah,
that
I
helps.
like to, when they bring them to me, I put them in my SD card reader and then I rename them their name, because I would have kids, because I give a test grade for the SD card. And if I tell them they have to have X amount of footage and I put it in and I don't see
okay.
X amount of footage, then that's how I grade on
That's a
that
good
end
idea.
right there. And then kids will try to bring me an SD card and I'll put it in there. I'm like, you're not so-and-so. What do you have?
Okay, I
I
get it.
found the, okay. And so that's kind of a way for me to keep them responsible for
Right.
their work. Jordan,
No, that's a great idea. I don't have that.
okay.
I have a Sharpie marker that I just write a number on the back and I get assigned a number.
So the only thing that I kind of steer them away from, our local Walmart has been super great about keeping SD cards and thumb drives and stuff in stock. But they've got this one brand, and I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want to get accused of whatever. It starts with an O, that's all I can say, and they are not high quality cards. And so I always tell them, hey, don't get that card. Get this other card that starts with an S and has a D in it. Get that card right there. So they do pretty well with that. Now with,
Comment online from Jeff.
oh, there we go. So Jeff is saying to let you know that you need to talk soon. They know where a few different production trailers are.
Oh, okay.
So if anything,
Is there a contact number on there for me? I'll just message
yeah,
him on.
Jeff, can you put a contact on here?
I'll click on his name. It's,
Yeah. So no matter what, when you walk out of here, and I do this with my kids, before you walk out of my class, being able to connect with one another and being able to contact each other outside of this is invaluable. Made so many contacts at some conferences and things like that, because even though we're in different spots, we're all going through, right? And
we or we me?
well, no, we. I'll say
You are too?
This
Okay.
is the professional use of we. And it's about to be full on crawfish boil season, right?
If the crawfish are yeah, I think there's some
So
problem with
I
crawfish.
think maybe if we can get you on record here, we have another conference where we bring some Cajun crawfish back to this thing. I think that might work out for everyone. Now,
Lunch on me, you know.
in jest only, but that is a unique thing to your area. And I didn't ask Jordan this about unique things to your area. Like TVE is kind of unique, not Fair Week. It's a Trinity Valley Exposition. It's Fair Week, so it's not. Fairs aren't unique, but the way we do where we kind of shut the whole place down for a week. Do you have that in Sulphur, where you have some kind of unique thing where it's an opportunity for your film AV guys to go out there and get some exposure?
Well, they already get a lot. They do get a lot of exposure
Okay.
because I usually find opportunities for them to do things outside of class. Well, we do live stream our homecoming parade, so they get out there for that, and the city shuts down for that. We have Mardi Gras
I'm familiar.
coming up, so we get some extra vacation days for that.
Okay.
But truly, a majority of my students, with them being first year, that's why I was like, I was asking Eduardo, what motivates you, because I have a lot of students who aren't sure why they're there. They didn't ask to be in that class, and they are part of that group that aren't sure what they want to do with their lives, and so the counselor's just trying to help them figure that out. So I have like a core group who will do things outside of class hours. That's where I'm going with this. And they'll do a lot of things on their own and film for a client and things like that.
So with your broadcast journalism background, how do you incorporate that into your program to keep it spicy and interesting for the kids and not just be about what you like to do?
Well, I try not to call it news anymore. We don't call it news. It's just a story or it's a segment, because I
Okay.
think that's a turnoff
Right.
to a kid if they thought they were doing news, or it's a feature or it's a spotlight on somebody. I tend to let them, I want them to find the topics they are interested in and want to cover so that they have ownership in that. They're interested, they're curious about that. And I can work storytelling around their interests. So, I give them a lot of freedom in that sense where they, and most of the time they see it as a segment for the show.
Okay.
So they don't really see the broadcasting, the journalism that I'm slipping
I got you.
into
I got
that.
you. It's
So,
sneaky.
trying to be.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. All right, thank you, Pam.
Okay.
I think now, John, you want to come up here and we'll talk about the nuances of the middle school love language there. Yeah, you can slide out this side over here. And I appreciate you guys allowing me to put you on the spot.
Oh, I'm used to being on the spot all the time.
Okay. All right, so John Barton, and you are...
I'm at Aldine ISD, and I teach over at Lewis Middle School.
Lewis Middle School. So everyone that we've talked to so far has been high school or post high school. We had Gordon on earlier. He's at the college level, and we've got our own particular nuances, our own particular flavors. Now you've got, if Baskin Robbins is the however many flavors, you're about a bajillion of those flavors at the middle school.
Yeah, middle school is a completely different animal from high school. What I try to really focus on is just give them opportunity to do something. Like I said, I teach theater primarily. That's what I'm hired to do. But I also have a background with video and a little bit of broadcasting as well. So I tried to bring some of that in there and let the kids, experience some of that as well. So that way they can get interested. And this year I started the film club, and we first did a couple of football games, but that was just filming them and then editing it. Very slow sort of situation. And then we did a pep rally, which after we did that, a lot of people really liked what they saw. And now we're doing basketball, and we're using OBS because it's all on my machine, not the school stuff. And so they're really appreciating the live stream. Matter of fact, we just got our 100th subscriber on our YouTube channel. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I also I went to one of our elementary schools, and I filmed something for them as well. So the word is spreading out. And so they're asking us to say, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? We also did something with our electives, with the band and the choir. We have what we call Elective Palooza, where we're literally recruiting our elementary school kids who feed into our program. So not only did we get to perform for that, but we also did a live stream of that as well, and that seemed to be very popular. So things are just growing a little bit faster than I like sometimes, not fast enough other times.
So one of the things that you deal with that, say, Pam or Jordan or myself, we don't deal with is, in a perfect world, I get a kid for 4 years. In a perfect world, you might get them for 2, maybe.
I mean, I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Okay.
Lucky for me, the kids that are most excited about this are in my 6th grade class. So as long as they can continue passing their core subjects pretty well, I'll have them for 2 more years, maybe 1 more year. But the good news is, since this is an after-school activity as well, they don't have to be in my class to be part of the film club. And one of the things I'm really excited about is we're going to be trying to put on a horror movie this spring, which is going to be a monstrous endeavor. But we're going to have the special effect makeup. We're going to have the fake blood. We're going to have squibs and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I've got a lot of teachers that say, ooh, we want to be part of the movie. I'm like, hey, come on down. I'll turn you into a zombie. Kids can kill you. That's fine.
So with your theater background, it seems like you tend to drift more toward the film production portion of it than the live stream production.
Kind of both. I mean, I also do videography. I do some stuff with Woodlands Online. We film high school games all the time. We do live stuff. That's a paid side gig. It's not much, but it's because I know the guys there, and they're pretty dependable. My own children also help film as well. So the live streaming is something I'm just now really beginning to feel comfortable with. there's still tons of stuff I need to learn, but I'm finding a good balance between that. But yeah, I also have 20 years of background as an actor and stage and in front of a camera, so they're merging.
Okay. So I guess maybe the last question I'm going to ask you, and I'm thinking of all these great questions that if I was a real person up here, I would have had for everyone, perhaps. You're new-ish to the live stream and what we're doing. What's been the one thing that you've noticed that kind of almost overwhelmed you at the beginning that made you want to stop and say, maybe this isn't for me?
Well, so far nothing's really made me want to stop. My main problem is like our sports. I tell them all the time that I'll do home games, but the away games, that's another kettle of fish right there, because I don't really have the equipment to do that. I mean, literally, it's my laptop and my cameras and things like that. But the coaches, they're very thankful for what I'm doing for them, because they also get to watch the videos, show the videos to their athletes and say, see, this is where you can improve. So it's a great tool that way for them as well. And they're like, hey, come on, we need you to do a bit more. Come do soccer, come do this. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to, but I have no idea how I'm going to film out there. It's just a logistics thing. That on top of staying on top of our theater stuff, because we have one act play coming up, and we have other showcases, plus the things I do in my personal life as well. All those things just kind of stack up.
That's the problem. He still has a
I still have a personal life. That is a problem.
That's what
Yeah, you got to put that to bed, fella.
I know. But it's things like this that really fire me up. It almost like revitalizes why I want to do this, is because it's like, at this point in the school year, we're all kind of a little bit worn down from just the regular grind, but being able to do things like this really just put that energy right back into me. And it's like, oh, I got so many great ideas now. So
Now, I guess I said I was going to ask you the last question, but this will be the last question. Maybe. Who knows? What's one thing when you walk out this door, what's one thing that you want to know more about? So as we're getting ready to push this as a monthly recurring thing that we can focus on, what's one thing that you say, you know what, I need to know more about this thing?
That's really difficult for me because there's so many things I don't know.
No, I said one,
I know.
not so many.
I know. One thing that I would really like to focus on more is, I guess, a little bit more on the tech side of things.
Okay.
As far, like I said, I'm using OBS. Our school district is very strict about not using freeware on their computers, which I'm sure most of them are. If I was to sit there and say, hey, I want to push this and make it more of a school thing, I'd need to know about the hardware, I'd need to know about the software, things like that, things that I have not been classically trained on.
Right.
So those are the things that I would like to start to learn more about.
So I can help you answer that question, and I'll look out into the audience and I can help you answer that question as well. If you are not familiar with vMix, you can get a free 30-day trial of vMix, and what I would suggest is you get on YouTube and you find, what's that guy's channel? Do you remember what it is? The vMix guy? That's so amazing.
one-man stream.
Yeah, one man stream. He's amazing. His YouTube videos on vMix are just, they're great.
Okay.
And so you go, you get that 30-day subscription, and then you get to play around with it, and then you'll understand when you open it up, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, but then by day 2, okay, I can navigate this. And then it's easier, I think, to talk your admin or whoever else into saying, hey, this is what we need, this is what I've been using. And it's just a wildly more productive use of your time than the other thing that you said. As
Sure.
I said, we don't say Voldemort's name, so I'm not
Okay.
going to say that out loud. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I guess before we wrap this up, Gordon, can I get you to come back up here? Yeah, you left. You know you were going to come back. Okay. There were some questions asked that maybe you can answer. And while Gordon's making his way up here, Jordan, if you can shout out a response, and I'll repeat it into the mic. What's one thing that sort of overwhelmed you when you first started that you had to overcome?
Technical issues.
So technical issues.
Like watching these YouTube videos and being like, oh, it's just as simple as this. When really there's issue after issue to get started, about ready to stop it.
So
And
NDI issues,
it's,
right?
I can use it in the district.
Or you might do it correct 3 times, and the 4th time it actually works.
So the
that's
technical,
that's really
right?
just knowing what was possible, seeing what all these other schools were able to do, even colleges were able to do with it, and being like, I should be able to get to that. Now it might be a roadblock that my school had, of like a firewall, and is what it was to start with. We got that opened, and once we started opening all those little channels, everything started working for me. But it took a little bit, it's probably 6 months there, to get my NDI network where it needed to be and how it needed to be set. Now, knock on wood, most of the time I have pretty good success with it, and it's been brilliant to go across the district with.
I love it. So just kind of recap, because Jordan didn't have a microphone, talking about the NDI issues and how when he first started that, overwhelming, and then some simple, well, in hindsight, simple fixes like firewall and some other things, and now he loves it. And then the other question is, as you walk out of here at the conclusion of this, what's something that you would like to see in like next month or the month after?
One, like I said, I use a TriCaster. I have a love-hate relationship with it most of the time, and seeing more use of vMix.
Okay.
How they use that. That's something I've thought about going towards, and maybe some different little how you guys use vMix.
Okay. So Jordan mentioned he's a TriCaster guy, and he would like to see some more vMix stuff. And I'm using it with Richie, and I'd like to see more of it as well. All right, and Gordon, the question was asked at the beginning about the tuition. Yes, Pam asked that question.
Yes.
So we're putting you back on the spot. Are you going to charge me out-of-state tuition if I come across the border from Sulphur, Louisiana?
No, I just got a response.
Okay. Woohoo! All right. All right.
That may be different.
They're just over the border-ish. Okay, awesome. One of the things that I really wanted to get in with you is we've talked, not ad nauseum because it's not making me upset because I love the live stream stuff, but we've talked about it a lot, the live stream stuff. You have done some super, super cool documentaries. And by the way, if you've not watched any of his stuff, it's living on LU TV, and yeah, it's almost like you won some awards for that. They are just really awesome. My kids have watched several of them, love them. So talk about that as far as from an AV class. If I didn't want to just necessarily focus on football or basketball, what would I need to know or do to kind of have that in my other pocket, that production business with film production?
For me, it's liking to consume content, different types of content. And if I'm not consuming it, just being aware a lot of the times of what students are interested in, because if you can do that, if they want to do a show on gaming, I don't know a lot about gaming, but if they have an interest, we try to figure it out. Because if our students are interested in it, that means there's an audience or a niche out there that would consume that. So the skills that we teach them, the camera skills, the audio, all of those things, they still apply. You're just taking into a different genre of using the medium.
Now, for you in specific, and we haven't mentioned this all day long, and my kids they ask me to do it all the time, and I just get tired, not because they ask the question, but because I've done it before and it makes me tired. When I'm doing a film production, all I have to do is this right here, and then all of a sudden I feel like I've aged 20 years, this boom operator pose right here, not the Rocky on the top of the steps. How do you teach your guys or your gals to operate the boom and not drop mics into shots and not after about 5 minutes, Coach, this sucks, I don't want to do this anymore?
You know,
Oh my gosh,
you're
not about to give me the answer I want. I
mean, I don't think you can make them walk around with something over their head throughout the school day to build up that strength and that muscle, but I mean, I think it's just practice.
Well, I kind of got around it a little bit because I bought these C stands and I've got the boom attachment and all that business, but nothing just beats.
Right.
You got the audio bag and you got the headset and you look so official, but man, it.
Well, if you're able to put a small lav on your actor or whatever, that could definitely help as well.
Okay.
So you'll have two audio sources to possibly play with, and then decide which one is going to work best.
So that brings up the next point, redundancy, and that's even with our live stream stuff, and we haven't talked about that probably enough with audio. So what does audio redundancy mean to you?
A lot of the recorders. So I'm not as technical as I should be.
I'll see.
I realize I know I'm not the smartest person in the room.
You don't have to be the
And I think
smartest.
that's a good thing. So it's one of those things to where I'm always learning from people on the crew. So I'm seeing a lot of the recorders that are coming out. They have two slots to where you have that redundancy there. Sometimes there's also cameras that are recording within itself. So I mean, I'm very backup. Redundancy is just one of those things that have saved me on a number of projects. So it's very important.
So to kind of push that further, because it's something I wanted to mention and I forgot to mention earlier, when you're doing live stuff or even when you're doing pre-recorded stuff. Like if you look at that camera over there, you can see I've got a little Rode shotgun mic on top of it. And when we're doing our puppet show, I'm running audio from that camera. I'm also running audio from the lav mics into a separate Tascam recorder. And then I've got a third audio option because I've been to too many places where the main one that I thought was going to work just pooped out on me about halfway through, and I had to scrap the entire project because I had no audio. I mean, it was horrific to me. So as you're doing your productions and you're doing your shows, how often do you check on that kind of stuff?
I'm constantly checking or telling the operator, are we good on sound? After a couple of takes, just have them go back and check it to make sure we're good. So it's a constant monitoring that hopefully, if you establish that, especially with students at the beginning, they're going to pick that habit up, and they should be doing it without you having to say something.
Now, Pam mentioned that she had a background in broadcast journalism, and we've been to your place before, and you've got this beautiful studio set up. And as educators, we're getting pushed more and more to the realm of let's be video announcements, let's be video news. So how would I, as an educator, be able to do a news style segment and be effective without being overwhelmed? These are the hard-hitting questions you'll get on 60 minutes right here.
No, you have to start with the resources you have. So I think the concepts of broadcasting and storytelling can be used no matter what type of equipment you have. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I shoot as far as stories and promotional stuff on my cell phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so I mean, you have 3 cameras. If you have 1 camera, you can use what you have and take those news production aspects and add it to that and make it work for you.
Now, I will say this because I'm going to go on record, and I'm okay with this. Once we went to your place, I almost wanted to go and get my Sawzall and come back into your studio and cut out your green screen work and just bring it back home with me. One of the most difficult things that I find with my high school kids is effective green screen usage. And it can be such a great tool for the high school folks because it's fun to use, but if you don't do it correctly, you get these ugly halos around you, you get people, you get the aliasing, and you get all this other stuff. So how do you guys, because your studio is set in a way, because since this is a theater, I can move my lights around, but I don't know, I'm not going to say I'm lazy, but I got to get a lift in here, and it's a whole thing. Your studio, your green screen has dedicated lights
Correct.
on it. So that's step number one, right?
Right.
You got to have the green screen lit independently of anyone else.
Correct.
Then whoever's in front of it has to be lit independent of those lights, right?
Correct. With proper clothing.
Wait, with proper clothing.
Clothing.
Proper clothing, yes.
We've had some students that would show up wearing a green shirt or something, and as soon as they hit the door, it's like, you know you're doing well there, right? Turn around. Go back to your dorm, change. So you can't wear any clothing that's going to cause that moire effect. So, I mean, it's
And then the third issue for that is the distance from talent to green screen, because if they're too close, you're going to get shadows.
correct. So making sure your space has that proper allowance, have that backlight or something that's separating your subject from.
Now, you have some more high quality broadcast style cameras at your place than we've got at our place. These are great for what we do.
Right.
Your cameras have the ability to see the green screen in effect through the camera? Is that yes
No,
or no?
no, we're not.
Oh,
We're
you're
not there yet.
Not that style. Okay.
Not there yet.
Okay.
We have Ross video equipment there in the control room. So when we got that a couple of years ago, that is more apt to what they have in professional studios. So when students walk in a professional TV studio and they see that huge board, they're not as freaked out because they understand 1 ME
Right.
and realize how that applies if it's a larger board. And go from there.
But your weather person and your sports person, they use the green screen pretty exclusively.
The weather person.
So when they're in front of the green screen, they have the ability to look off and
Yes.
see. Okay.
They have a monitor to their left and right.
And I guess the last thing I want to ask you about your studio, because this will be something that some of us can do, some of us can't do, and it might be better for one or the other, is a digital studio versus a actual physical studio. And you guys have a physical studio. There you go, virtual set versus the physical set.
I'm very practical,
Okay.
so I like to touch the feel. I feel it's part of the environment that you want to create. Yeah, I just think it's a part of the environment. It's a part of this is a news production. Not that, a green screen or virtual set doesn't give that, but for me, it's a different mindset that comes into play.
All right, so I want to just take 1 second, and does anyone, either online or any of you guys, do you have any questions for Gordon?
So, as high school teachers, what are you wanting our students to know before they get to you?
All right, so Jordan asked, as high school teachers, what does the college game need incoming freshmen to know?
Whether it's one camera operation or a whole production, what would you like to see them already know? Study skills.
Yeah. Basic skills, advanced skills are always great. I say often the best ability is availability. So when freshmen come in, after they make that college adjustment, I think it's important for them to find that broadcast or that media space so they can be in the environment where of what they want to do. I've seen it to where we've had broadcasting students come in as freshmen and they don't make their way down to the TV studio to their junior or senior.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like you lose momentum that way. So it may not be required for you to take those classes as a student, but you need to be in their environment where everything is happening.
All right, any other questions? That was a great response. Questions? All right, trying to give it a second to catch up over here. I don't see anyone on the live chat. So, having said that, thank you again, Gordon, for coming today. And man, this has been, I feel like, such a positive experience. And I've sometimes I feel like I know a lot, and then when I get to a place where maybe I don't know as much as I thought I knew, especially when you're trying to overcome problems. I appreciate everyone showing up, both in person and then on the live stream. Richie, did you need to say anything, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to transition Gordon back over to Mr. Ewing, and then we'll wrap this thing up. And again, as we're doing that, I appreciate everyone for being here. And it hasn't felt like we've been here all day long. That's a positive thing. Some of you guys that are online missed our tour of our battery backup system and the studio, and you missed going in the trailer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my kids, and we'll do a film component of all those things, and then we'll post that in this playlist, and then you can kind of check that out. And as always, if you have any questions, don't email me. Do not email me. reewing@libertyisd.net. You can ask me questions about Adobe, Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Graphics creations, pop-ups,
Camera
photography,
manual settings.
yeah, things like that. Anything else. If you're trying to make it, I'm not the guy. All right, Richie.
So I think our TV turned off, but I'm gonna go over. Tori can get it. I just wanted to show you guys the Facebook page, which really is what started this whole thing and kicked off this workshop. High school AV production. The cover photo at the top of the page is Dayton High School graduation 2016, I believe. The guy that normally did it had to go out of town. They asked us to step in, and we did it. We added overlays of the seniors, and that's my daughter in 7th grade. She's teaching high school now, so yeah, this is for the online people only.
You can't see all that in that screen right there? Golly. They're not from Texas. It's okay.
But if you're not in the work group, in the Facebook group, please join it. Need like 200 more members to have 5,000, which is a lot. That's a lot of eyeballs I mentioned earlier that you can talk to. Now, you know how the algorithms work in Facebook. You might not see it, or you might, but once you comment or like something, it'll probably be at the top of your feed every day, and the same 5 or 6 people. It seems like we converse back and forth, but that's okay, because that's what it's there for. See if you guys online have any other questions. Or again, I apologize for the online audio, as our microphones and sound system was borrowed by a student to do his podcast show, and he didn't realize we were doing this show today.
Well, it's okay. I think the big problem we had for today is we had planned on coming straight out of the trailer.
Yeah.
And as you were here earlier, our maintenance guy
Yeah.
did a great job. He was trying to install it for yesterday, and it's a screw-in breaker and not a push-in breaker, and he didn't have one on hand, and so that's what prevented. So as we do this in the future, we'll have our full cadre of equipment to work from. And so again, if you slog through it with us from our single backwards camera on the first one to all the way through this, you'll see improvement. And I'm actually kind of glad that happened, just so we all can understand how sucky live stream can be sometimes, but how rewarding at the same time. Final thoughts, Richie?
I just want to thank everybody for coming out and coming in from out of town even, and hope everybody, like I said, my one thing was at least meet one person that you can network with and talk to after the fact, and bounce ideas off of. And I think everybody was able to do that. I'm excited about the opportunities we have going forward, not only for us as educators, but for our students. Even that one sitting up there at the desk half asleep. She got up so early today on her Friday off. We do appreciate their being involved today. And I'll let you close us out there, Coach
That
Roberts.
sounds good. I'll do my best impersonation of my broadcast partner. For Richard Ewing, I'm Joe Roberts. You've been watching the Panther Sports Network. Just kidding. Thank you guys for showing up. Be on the lookout for our next monthly, and this will be an online sort of gig where we broadcast, and we'll do some more. Don't forget to share your comments, what you'd like to see. Email all that to reewing@libertyisd.net, and we'll get that on the slate for you. Thank you to everyone that came up here and let me put them in the hot spot. Thank you for traveling here all the way from the snowy climes of Missouri and Louisiana and the Beaumont area and the other side of Houston and all parts unknown. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining our conference.
Thank you.